Adama.
Yes, welcome, welcome. So great to see you.
Adama's face. How are you,
Yes, I'm so thrilled to welcome you to Adama.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. This is it.
This is it.
This is where we are. This is the NIA building here at Pittsburgh Yards, and it's
a beautiful
been
building.
a wonderful opportunity to introduce the African diaspora to this community here in Atlanta through the art and culture.
And what are you showing this month here?
The current exhibition that we have is called Patacones, Paintbrushes and Power, and it is a really dynamic expression of intercultural dialogue between artists from the United States and artists living and working in a village called Portobello, Panama.
This is great. And these broken glass pieces, which remind me of Haiti, which kind of, we get that thread of, we see each other in different places.
Yeah.
What about this work?
Yeah, in fact, that's, Adama's motto is everywhere we go, there we are.
Ha!
You know?
I'm gonna steal that.
Because it's exactly that, right? There's this commonality, even in the differences. There's a thread that connects us that oftentimes we don't get a chance to see or experience because so much of this world that we live
isolated,
in.
separated, that, and we always seem to aspire to be part of like where you are. And yet we're already there.
We're already there, been there.
I was just wondering if you chose this one because it says Black World, so it kind of covers a lot of things. And I love the fact that the world's in her belly.
Exactly, yeah. When I was working on this body of work, I had just gotten introduced to the history in the archive of Johnson Publications and all of the publications that they did over the years, and Black World was one of those publications. And so I was just really fascinated by the fact that Mr. Johnson, even back in the 60s and 70s, was trying to create a new narrative for Black people through these periodicals, right? Like, it was the first time that there was a sort of aspirational Blackness that was presented in media. So no, we're super excited to be able to showcase selections from your collection, which is just a really phenomenal experience to bring to Atlanta. Every year at Adama, we highlight the collection of a Black collector to help to demonstrate to our community how accessible and necessary it is to live with our work. So we're really thrilled to be able to showcase your work with
I'm actually really proud to be here, and I'm so glad you asked me. And I love how it came about in this sort of incidental way. And first of all, just congratulations on pushing forward and making something like this happen in your hometown. I really believe that the bigger we get in our hometowns, people come to see us. And you don't have to take the show on the road necessarily. Right. So I'd be very proud to be part of there's a show at Adama. And we take it from there.
Yes, well.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Miss CCH Pounder, welcome to Adama.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yes, I don't think you need much introduction. Your resume is as long as the day is.
I'm old.
Age is a beautiful thing, so I don't even think you should feel away. But we're so happy to have you today.
Thank you.
And in thinking about the world that we live in and the space that we are right now, what are you most excited about with your creativity these days? Just jumping into.
I think the thing that I wanted to do most, you feel that you've reached a certain level and you're happy. It's like, oh wow, I accomplished that, I accomplished this. And there were things that I wanted to share with my world that wasn't available to me in the other life that I'm living, which is as an actor. As an actor, somebody asks you if you want to do something, you do it, you're part of a team, and whether the story is good, bad, or indifferent, it's for I call like a certain niche, like, this is like a female movie, or this is a horror story. In what I'm doing, in behind the scenes in what I call my second career is that I've been a collector, curator, and owner of the first contemporary museum in Dakar, Senegal. And from that experience, when I watch young men and women walk into the spaces that I provide the art for, the reaction that I get to see when they light up in recognition of the people on the wall that remind them of themselves or their mothers or their grandmothers or a relative or the guy down the street, I find it really thrilling.
Yeah.
And so it's made me sort of kind of keep going. Yeah. This is something that you should be doing. You know, sometimes you get an idea of something that you want to do, and then sometimes an idea just drops in front of you and says, you should be doing this.
And I'm curious, because I've heard you talk about that first experience at Xavier University, and you see the students.
It's still the most powerful thing.
I want to know what resonated with you so much, though, about seeing them see themselves.
Well, first of all, they were young men. Basketball, I can see that, something that catches their eye, but they were headphones, they had their cell phones in their hands. They were talking and yakking, and I watched them literally in slow motion do the slow roll. Like, whoa. And I saw them taking in themselves in terms of pictures and paintings and statuary. And it just moved me so much that I used to just come and sit in one of the benches just to see, did that happen for real? And then it would happen again, and it would happen again. And that's what really made me know that, CC, you could really share this and share it in a bigger way than I had imagined. Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about not wanting your work to end up in a basement.
I don't.
And not being collecting dust.
I don't.
And so when I think about Brother that is here now at Adama, in your the first exhibit was focusing on all of your female subjects.
Right.
And I want to know, how much influence did your late husband have? You talk about him so fondly.
Well, I always tell the story that when you walked into my house in California, there were marvelous paintings, all female. And I think I just acquired another one, and my husband came in, he says, I'm only married to one woman, who are all these women up on the wall, And I didn't even realize that my muse, my interest, always turned to the female form. And I thought, well, yeah, that's really unfair. And that's when I started to collect other images, men included. But then I kind of spread my brain a little bit. It's like, what about landscapes? What about abstract, which is very tough for me. But I did it.
And I do want to talk about Carl.
I did it.
I do.
It was tough, but it's a learning curve. And I think the more you become fascinated by artistry and how artists are thinking, the more open you can become to inviting other kind of imagery into your home and into museums and places that normally, they give it a shot, but they don't really delve into it a great deal.
And do you recall the moment that you saw yourself first in a piece of work? Like, do you remember what work that was?
Oh, yes. I was in the Louvre, ironically. I was in the Louvre, and I saw Marilyn Monroe. That is the very typical lineup in front of the, why am I blanking on her name now? That specific smile that she has. Anyway, it was a piece. I'm embarrassed to not be able to call her name, but we'll get it before we end, because across the way, by the way, the painting is small. It has a disc in front of it, and there were hundreds of people taking pictures, flashing, jockeying to get to see her. CC, you're gonna be so embarrassed when you can't call this name. But anyway, across from there was the marriage of Cana. And in the Marriage of Cana, where there are hundreds of people in the painting, there were 2 black images. One was a dwarf, and one was maybe a merchant. And they were part of that scene. And I was like, black people, look, there's one over there. And while they were so busy looking at what I call the Marilyn, there was this piece that I went through all of the different images of the men and women, the different places that they must have come from. It was just tremendous for me. And I literally looked back over there and go, you guys are missing something, you know? So, yeah.
So when you think about collecting works like that and
Yes.
creating space for people that look like us
Yes.
to see themselves, Brother, The Interior Lives of Black Men explores the tropes that we've seen, and it kind of tries to dismantle and break down the stereotypes, essentially, that we see in Black men. In your work, in this body, these 30 pieces, how do you feel like you've done that for the storytelling of the work?
Well, first of all, I really feel like I need to pat myself
No,
on the
you
back
should.
because I listened to my husband, and I really became fascinated again with you know, form and the look and the types of men that you will see.
Yes.
And I think what I love most is the fact that we tend to see an idealized man, and I think when you see the body of like the 30 pieces, you'll see it like introspection, power, attitude, you know, even stylized and stuff like that. So I was really kind of, whew, I did it, you know, I did do it. So I hope you guys really enjoy what you're going to see here, because there's quite a wonderful variety.
Yes.
And they're men that if we don't know them, we would like to.
And do you want to highlight a few of your pieces that stand out for you?
Yes, I think Adama has chosen one of them. It's called Self-Reflection, which I really appreciated, because you tend not to see this type of man in the street, because when you're out in the street, you kind of put on a bravura, like, yo, hey, attitude, big time. And there's something really wonderful about this man looking at himself. And he's not a smaller man, but he is an internal, there's a spiritual moment in it. And I think it's wonderful. And the color is blue, it's blue all around him, which is to me a very spiritual color. And so that is by John Okoye. And it's one of my favorite ones in that kind of silent power, that it's just me and it's who I am. And I don't have to do anything more than that to sell you who I am. I really like that. And I think he chose the gardener as well, who's big, burly.
Yeah, that's the really strong.
Oh, Cousteau, big guy. I like that, and he's got the shears in his hand, and I just like the sense of brawn, which we're also part of. We build some big dudes. That's why I'm so tired today. There was a huge muscle guard in my scene yesterday, and I was like, if that man falls down one more time, I'm dead over there, you know. But yeah, it was just really wonderful to have all of these contrasts, and that not one particular trope makes up who we are as men and women. So that was important.
And do you think, given the state of our world, politics, economy, all the things in terms of our race relations, why do you think those themes and this show, specifically featuring Black men, is so important right now?
It's a great question, because I don't necessarily feel that we have paid enough attention to ourselves. I think we're constantly making comparison to the other, and my success is in relation to the other, like that neighborhood, or this level of banking, or this, you know, whatever I have reached in my career, you know. It's like I'm a doctor, but I'm only a dentist. I'm not a medical. You know, we make comparisons all the time, but it's always in reflection to me, to the other. And I think that the world as tough as it is today, I think it's a great world for us because we have finally a chance to go, okay, I see what you've been doing. Let me turn into my folks and get sustenance from here. And we start to build ourselves up in our own fabulosity, to become what we decide. And I think that's going to be more and more important as the world tries to separate the humanity of us.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's go and strengthen our humanity at home so that we can go out and be gracious to others.
It's important.
Yeah.
And how do you feel like this show is positioned to help people do that when they leave this experience?
Well, I'd like to think that there is a thrill of kind of, oh, I know him, did not look like Johnny down the street. I'd like to feel that it has the camaraderie of a brother to brother, you know, or a little tap on the shoulder, let me talk to you, let's show you this, you know. So I'm hoping that that's the result of it. I'm also hoping that it encourages the visitor to go and seek themselves in other artistic images like paintings or statuary, stuff like that.
Okay.
It hasn't failed yet, and I think each time I've done a show, I have increased the collector power of my race. So I'm really happy about that. And also, I think when you can start quite small and expand as you wish. Yeah.
And in terms of like accessibility to this work, like how do you see yourself continuing to make this more expansive and creating access so people can collect work, see themselves in work at all levels?
But even my situation with Adama, it was incidental in the beginning. You know, how I came to this, I didn't know about Adama until I actually moved to Atlanta for these few months that I've been working here. And so Fahamu introduced me to this place. I had known him for his work, but the fact that he said, you know, we've got something going on here, and yes, we accept work from other places. I've got a slot, would you join us? And I said yes, and I think one of the things is that I am very anxious that those people who have these sorts of institutions don't think of it as an elitist place.
Yeah.
I am really peeved sometimes about the kind of elitism that art can create.
Yeah.
And the fact is that I feel that it's for all of us because it educates all of us, it entertains all of us, it shows us things that perhaps we hadn't seen before. And I think that's really important, that we all get the opportunity. So I'm very proud to be here.
Yeah. And we're proud to have
Thank you so much.
Adama is very excited
Great.
to have this work be a part of its legacy, and we hope that you can find more ways to show and support other artists in their journey.
Thank you.
I do have one last question about your collecting journey.
Yes.
Because you have spoken about not being as much collecting, but more maintaining in
Yes,
life.
I've got a 45-year collection.
Oh, wow.
And it does get new, you know, every year. I keep saying, okay, now I need to stop. And it becomes hard. I think I have over 750 pieces altogether.
Wow.
And it stems from African classic, you know, wood carvings, from masks, etc., all the way to contemporary paintings. And that's what my husband and I did together in Senegal, where he was a collector of African historic pieces. And then I told him, we really can afford it. We can't afford to test them to see that they weren't buried 3 weeks ago and some acid thrown on them and they looked aged. And I said, let's just move forward and do the contemporary. So that's how I landed in this marvelous pool,
Wow.
this fantastic creative pool of artists from all over the world.
And you're Guyanese by birth.
Yes.
And Adama exists to expose not just Atlanta, but the world to the African diaspora.
Yeah.
And so how do you see yourself being a cultural curator, we'll call
I
it, of
think
the
I
diaspora?
am the perfect descendant fit. I'm the fit because I was born in Guyana, raised in England, and then came to America. It's like, I'm like the boat journey.
You are. You're the
know,
poster
and all
child
the
for
stops.
it.
And when you look at the suitcases, it's like, oh, she brought stuff from there, and she brought stuff from there. But it's always in reflection to the African world.
Yeah.
So I'm a true immigrant, a big time true immigrant. Yeah. And I brought my little wares with me, so to speak. And each place I go, I add something else. So it's been one of the real joys. And not that I don't like being an actor, but I get the thrill of the find in the visual arts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you going to give yourself a chance to explore it some more? I know that was where you wanted, and then you were told, well, acting is the lane.
Yes. I don't know. You must have read that story.
Yes,
that I had
I
this
did.
marvelous.
Yeah, and you can feel free to tell the
I had
story.
a wonderful mentor, Stella Karen. I always give her credit because when I was in England, I had a much more lilty Caribbean accent. She said, "Do you want to change your voice?" I said, "No, what's wrong with my voice?" She said, "Nothing." I said, "Okay." She said, "No, we'll keep it the way it is." And I mean, obviously as time goes by and you get older, the influence of the country that you're in sort of seeps in. And you're always looking for what you're not, funnily enough. And so collecting what I am there, like small bits. That was when I was collecting little African ebony pieces and stuff like that. And I would start there. And bringing my immigrant self to America, it was to bring all of the things that I came from to bear in the United States. So in effect, America has gotten the best of me because it's like the totality of me. But Stella said, well, you can be an actor, it's for young people. This is Stella. Acting is for young people. As long as you have your hands and your eyes, you can paint wherever, forever. And so I said, oh, okay, great. I'll be an actor till I'm 50, and then after I'm 50, I'm going to be an artist. Well, life doesn't really fall that way, does it? And during that time, I started collecting works of my friends. Because I was an actor, I had more dispendable money because I was single, and so I would be introducing chefs, young chefs to young painters, all of this stuff, and we would have this great sort of meld of all the different types of people in my life. Yeah. And so I brought them all together. I was always the space. I always created space, which is kind of interesting now. I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah.
That I was always the gathering place. And so all of these different creatives would be together. And by the time I hit 50, I was fully engulfed in the actor's world and only doing the introductions. And that's when the changeover became fully engulfed in collecting as opposed to being an artist myself. Every now and again, I might do beadwork to keep my little artist person in there happy, or little books like travel when I'm traveling, or poetry or scribbles, lots of scribbles, lots of the side margins of my of books. It's like I do a little something.
Doodles.
Yeah. That's it.
So you're a full-on creative in every sense of the word.
Embarrassingly so, but I'm proud of it.
Oh no, there's no shame in that. Yeah. Yes, stand tall in it. So then in creating space then for people to gather, you're kind of doing that with your exhibits without even realizing it too. So what's next for the work?
So as the work, we've now gathered different, this is the next one. Adama is the next one. So it's the first time in Atlanta. We'll be back in Atlanta again in 2027 in a completely different capacity. Fahamu has chosen specifically the male gaze. So this is the pleasure that he, for me, that somebody says, no, I want men. And it's like, huh? So this is really, really good that they have men to show. So I'm just going to continue doing this. I'm making a space in my brain for where it will all end up. I don't think it's all going to end up in one specific place. And I think it will be shared. And hopefully Guyana will get something, England will get something, and America will get something. And so we're working through the process of how that would happen. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure.
Yes, an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.